Understand that my body was fighting me tooth and nail, and the only tools available were no match for my cravings. Every diet or approach I tried followed the same pattern. There was a list of bad foods that I couldn't eat, and I'd avoid them like poison. Then there were the good foods, the stuff I was allowed to eat freely, so I'd fill my fridge and my stomach with these approved items, trusting that as long as I did my part and followed the program, it would work. But it didn't work. It never worked. The pattern was the same every time. I'd lose some weight initially, but after a few weeks or a few months on the program, my intense food cravings would completely take control, and I'd have a huge binge. Within days, I'd gain back all the weight I'd lost. Worse still, I would invariably gain a few extra pounds, adding insult to injury. This binge purge yo-yo cycle went on for more than a decade. It was one of the most difficult and challenging times of my life. When I hit my heaviest, my weight had become a debilitating problem in every area of my life. Intuitively, I knew I had to address the real reasons why my body was forcing me to gain weight. I just didn't understand why I constantly wanted more food than I needed, or why I was so exhausted all the time, and why I craved junk food night and day. So out of sheer desperation, I started using the mind-body practice of guided imagery visualization. As a kid, I experienced great results using visualization to resolve other challenges in my life, so I figured, why not? I had nothing to lose. Who would have guessed that the solution to my struggle with weight would come from something I learned as a 10-year-old boy? But that's exactly what happened. As a child, I had terrible migraine headaches. I would sit in a dark room for hours trying to sleep while I waited for the pounding pain and nausea to subside. Painkillers wouldn't help at all and would only make me more nauseous. We were all at a loss of what to do. My father was a dentist, and he had developed a very powerful visualization practice he used with his patients for pain control during procedures. On a whim one day, as I felt a migraine coming on, he sat me down and took me on a mental journey to see if it would help. He started by walking me through a relaxation exercise. He asked me to release the tension in my feet, my calves, my thighs, until I had relaxed all the way up to my face and scalp. Then he said, I want you to imagine that we're skiing at Waterville Valley, a ski area we used to visit every winter. Picture yourself at the top of Valley Run, he said, and now imagine there's a big bucket of black sand on your shoulder. As you're skiing down, imagine the black sand is tipping out behind you, sprinkling all over the white snow, he continued. And now, imagine that the sand falling away behind you is your headache. As my dad continued to guide me in this visualization, and I had progressed to halfway down the ski run, the black bucket of sand had become half empty. At that point, he said, now your headache is halfway gone. And sure enough, my headache had faded. By the time we reached the bottom, the bucket was empty and my headache had disappeared altogether. I was shocked that simply thinking certain thoughts and imagining certain events could have such a tangible effect on my physical well-being. I felt as if my father had just given me a tremendous gift and that I was introduced to something truly amazing, something that belonged to me that I didn't even know I had, the tremendous healing power of my own mind. I soon learned to use that ski run visualization to relieve migraines all on my own. Initially, it took me about 15 minutes to clear a headache with my dad's approach, but I later learned to banish the pain in just a few minutes. I then applied this healing technique to other areas of my life. By the time I started my daily visualization for weight loss practice, I'd been unsuccessful at every other method of weight loss, and the situation had become dire. Part of the reason I was initially able to commit to a daily visualization practice was because it made me feel so good. But to my amazement, it did much more than just calm my mind. From the very first week I began visualizing, I felt an internal shift, and I knew I'd tapped into something truly life-saving. Within a month, I could see some very visible signs of weight loss. Then, like water falling off the edge of a cliff, the fat just started to fall off me week after week, without struggle or force, without calorie counting or scales. After getting into a deep state of relaxation, I would picture the body I wanted to have, a chiseled frame, defined stomach muscles, and tight skin. If anyone had seen the image I held in my mind back then, they would have thought I was absolutely crazy. I was 409 pounds, and there I was visualizing myself as a lean, fit, 186-pound guy. As ridiculous as it may have seemed to even me, no one today can argue with the results. Every night I would visualize my goal, and then the next day things seemed to fall into place to help me achieve that goal, just like clockwork. My food choices started to change all on their own. I wasn't craving junk food anymore. I started craving real foods, and I started having lots of energy. Suddenly, physical activities like biking, walking, or hiking became fun again. I didn't need meal plans, diets, or exercise programs. My body knew what it needed to do to restore radiant health and fitness, and it all just happened organically on its own. Fast forward to 2.5 years, I'd reached my